They had subjugated thousands of worlds before Earth. The Tarko Dominion, a war-born alien empire that had crushed resistance in every spiral arm of the galaxy, arrived over Earth with 13 dreadnoughts and a single demand: kneel or burn. The Galactic Archive would later mark that moment, Cycle 4783.1.2.4- as the last time the Tarko ever gave a warning. Humanity, fractured as always, watched in silence as the Dominion destroyed New Delhi from orbit to make a point. The sky turned to ash. Leaders from other nations, terrified of further annihilation, assembled aboard the Dominion flagship to offer Earth's formal surrender. All but one dot in a dusty mining town in Montana, far from what remained of command. Centers or media towers. A man named Caleb Knox watched the fires on a cracked old TV in a bar with 7 patrons and no power grid. He was ex-military, retired, forgotten but not done. Dominion demanded his kneeling, a live broadcast beamed galaxy-wide. As a symbolic surrender of Earth, he walked onto the ash-covered Capitol steps wearing nothing but his old combat armor, patched with duct tape and dry blood. And when the Tarko commander extended a clawed hand, urging submission, Caleb simply said no. Then he shot the commander in the face. At first, the Dominion thought it was a joke. One human with an antique rifle couldn't possibly pose a threat. But as Caleb disappeared into the city ruins, stealing Tarko weapons and turning Earth's own tunnels and terrain against him, things began to shift. Resistance spread like wildfire. Videos of the execution went viral across the galactic net. Beings from enslaved worlds long silent, under Dominion rule, watched in awe as Caleb evaded death again and again. In one video, he hijacked the Tarko Walker and walked it straight into their orbital uplink, destroying their comms network over Asia. In another, he broadcast the names of every human lost to the Dominion's orbital strikes, reading them aloud for 17 straight hours while surrounded by scorched rubble and drone fire. The galaxy began to murmur. A human that won't kneel? He makes them bleed. He burns their ships with his bare hands. NIST were born in real time. The Tarko sent assassins. 12. Elite. Trained in silent killing. Invisible strikes. Neural disruptors. None returned. In their place, a message appeared on the galactic net. Your killers are compost now. Earth grows free. CKTHE Dominion grew furious. Whole battalions were dispatched. Colonies were strip-mined to fuel the hunt. But the more they pushed, the more the legend grew. Caleb was no longer alone. In the swamps of Saturn's moon Titan, a rebel colony of humans long thought extinct rallied under Caleb's call. He never asked for their help, but he gave them something the galaxy had forgotten. Kalon hoped. They called themselves the Ashborn, ex-soldiers, scientists, farmers with nothing left to lose. With salvage tech and scrap warships, they launched guerrilla raids against Dominion patrols. Meanwhile, aliens from once subjugated planets began whispering his name. A Cherik slave commander on Rigel 4 led an uprising after hearing Caleb's voice broadcast through a hacked Dominion station. A cyborg hive mind from Ocean 9 diverted its processing cores to help decrypt Tarko fleet routes for the man who says no. The galaxy, fractured in silence for centuries, began to burn not because Caleb was a god of war, but because one man refusing to kneel reminded trillions that they could stand. The Tarko called him Despon. The rebels called him Commander. Knox, Caleb just called himself, a tired old soldier. But when the Dominion's main fleet arrived to Glass Earth once and for all, Caleb didn't hide. He took his last breath of ash-choked air, stepped into a stolen Dominion cruiser laced with nukes and nanite bombs, and whispered, "This is for New Delhi." He crashed the ship into their flagship's core reactor. The explosion was seen from orbit, but that wasn't the end. Caleb's body was never found. His helmet, charred, cracked, and blood-streaked, was discovered drifting in space. Signal beacon still blinking a single message: "Don't kneel, rise." That message played across rebellion hubs for decades. It became a symbol etched onto Armor into walls, onto the sides of stolen ships. It wasn't just a motto dot, it was a warning. Years later, the Free Systems Alliance, built from former slaves and humans alike, ruled a third of the galaxy. The Tarkal were broken, scattered into warlords and memory. No statue of Caleb was ever built. No capital ever bore his name. But in every battle, every insurrection, every whisper of freedom, one story endured. It all began when one human refused to kneel. And the galaxy has burned ever since.